Right now, there's a lot of topics around everything being equitable and even and everybody ending up in at the same spot. That's just not reality, dude. The reality is if you started out with nothing and someone else started out with, let's say, people like to say, oh, the guy was born on third base and thinks he hit a triple, right? All right, so you're born on home base. You weren't born with any special gifts. You weren't really given any special treatment. And then you're competing against someone who was gifted, who, let's say, born on second base. That means you got to do more work. You can't complain about it and say, oh, it's not fair. No, it's not fair. That's the way the world works. The world is not fair. So if we want to be great, we have to bottom line that and say, okay, this is the reality. I wasn't blessed with these gifts, so I have to do more. And if I do more, I'll pass that person up. What is up, guys? It's Andy Frisella, and this is the show for the realists. Say goodbye to the lies, the fakeness, and delusions of modern society, and welcome to reality. Guys, it's a brand new week, and you know what that means? That means we are hitting Q&AF, because we always like to start the week getting better, all right? So this is where you ask the questions, and we give you the answers. Now, you can submit your questions to be answered on this show a couple different ways. The first way is,
guys, you can email these questions into askandy@andyfrisella.com.
Or you go on YouTube under the Q&AF episodes, drop your question in the comments, and we'll choose some from there as well. As I mentioned last week, we are going to start transitioning into live call-ins, so keep your ear open for that, and we'll let you know. Now, if this is your first time listening, we have shows within the show, all right? Tomorrow, we're going to have CTI. That stands for Cruise the Internet. That's where we put topics up on the screen. We speculate on what's true, on what's not true, and then we talk about how we, the people, have to solve these problems going on in the world. Other times throughout the week, we're going to have Real Talk. Real Talk, just 5 to 20 minutes of me giving you some real talk. And then we have 75 Hard Verses, and we have some really good 75 Hard Verses episodes coming up. What is 75 Hard Verses, you might ask? Well, it is where we bring people in studio who have completed the 75 Hard program. We talk about how their life was before, how their life is now, and how they use the 75 Hard program to transform their lives. If you're unfamiliar with 75 Hard, it is the world's most famous mental transformation program ever. And it is the initial phase of the Live Hard program. You can get that program for free at episode 208 on the audio feed only. It's not on YouTube. We weren't on YouTube when that came out. So if you go on any of the audio platforms and listen to episode 208, you will get the program for free. Now, there is a book called The Book on Mental Toughness. You can get that at my website, andyfrisella.com. It is in stock right now, I believe. That will cover the entire Live Hard program, top to bottom, in and out. It has 10 plus chapters on mental toughness, how to cultivate it, why it's important, and why you need it in your life, along with a bunch of case studies on very famous people who have used mental toughness to become the people that you recognize today. Again, you can get that at andyfrisella.com. Now, one thing you're going to notice about this show, unlike most shows, is we don't run ads. All right? I don't want to have to hear from these other companies what I can and can't say. As you guys know, we're always talking about what's going on, the things we're not supposed to talk about, which is absurd in the United States of America. We're supposed to be able to talk about whatever we want. But we're constantly battling censorship, traffic throttling, getting our episodes removed like we had happen last week on Friday. And we need your help to get the message out. So I ask very simply that you pay the fee. And what that means is if the episode's good, if it makes you think, if it makes you laugh, you get value out of it, please help us grow the show. Please share the show, all right? We only grow if you share the show. That's the only way our show grows. So don't be a hoe.
Share the show.
All right. What's up, man?
Happy Monday.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sore.
Feeling a little grapish today?
Yeah.
Tap into the dark side?
Yeah. I love the grape, dude. I love the grape.
Hey, you down with the grape,
I
bro?
feel it in my soul. You know what that means, right?
Popeyes.
I'm about to steal the show.
Yeah, man.
What's up?
It's another day,
What you got there?
A little strawberry madness.
Is it good? Strawberry?
Bro, it's fire.
Is that the one?
It's fire.
Really?
There's like little chunks of strawberry in there.
Yeah.
I just had one in my mouth. It was good.
Bro, back in the day, I used to only drink strawberry protein, and I drank it like so much for so long that like I can't even drink it anymore. Like I can't even drink I can't have strawberry ice cream. I can't have strawberry. Yeah. No.
Dude, so
I used to love it. It used to be my favorite thing ever, dude.
bro, I'm down with strawberries, bro.
When I used to go to my grandma's house over in Shawneetown, Illinois, she used to always make strawberry quick. Do you know what that is?
It's like whipped cream? What is that?
No, it's like chocolate milk, but it's strawberry. It's quick, strawberry quick.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah,
and it used to come in like a little tin can where you like kind of pop the...
Yep.
Yeah, dude. It's one of my favorite memories.
We make strawberries with water, though, because we didn't always have milk. Dad never came back.
Well, that's that pizzante.
Yeah.
So, but we did it with milk, white privilege. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're so privileged.
Yeah. So, but yeah, dude, it's one of my favorite memories, man. Getting that strawberry quick.
Yeah, the strawberry Nesquik, bro. That's some decent stuff, man. That's going down memory lane.
Yep.
All right, sweet, man. Well,
that's right up there with the Werthers and the little, those wafer cakes that are like strawberry. Yeah, I know you got some over there, bro. I'm not talking about those strawberry candies though. You know those wafer cakes? They're like a rectangle. And they got like a wafer on top and a wafer on the bottom, and then they got icing or whatever in the middle. Joe, you know what I'm talking
exactly
about.
What you're talking about. They come in like chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry. Yeah.
Fuck yeah, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Those things are good.
Fire.
Yeah. I remember those from my grandma's house, too.
Yeah. I love snacks.
Joe, you like those? Me too, man. I like snacks, too, bro. Not quite those. They aren't similar to those, but that's multi-level. That's really the bougie kind.
No, that's bougie.
Yeah.
Though.
These are like just little rectangles.
We're talking about the blue card kind.
Yeah. The EBT kind.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
All right, man, let's make some people better.
Y'all running around with black cards. I got the blue card. You know what I'm saying? All right, man, let's make some people better, man. Guys, Andy, I got 3 good ones for you.
All right, you always do.
Hey, man, I do my best.
I know.
So let's knock these out, guys. Andy, question numero uno. Hey, Andy and DJ, thanks for taking my question. I've been a tattoo artist for 20 years now and opened my own shop 1 month before COVID shut us down. The business survived that and has been thriving and growing since then. But I've made a lot of mistakes, primarily in who I've hired. I've let the wrong people in, and as a result, I've gotten very comfortable firing people. I've been guilty of knowing someone needed to go and keeping them on way too long. Now my tolerance for bullshit is very low. When I can see it's not a good fit, I am quick to stop the bleeding. My question is, am I being too picky? I only want winners in my shop who want to contribute to our overall momentum and growth of our artists collectively. But those people are very few and far in between in this industry. Should I allow B players to take up space and put more time and effort into coaching them in order to keep moving the needle forward? Or do I keep holding out and hope to attract those A players that I really want? Thanks so much for your help. Is firing too quick? Is that a thing?
Well, there's a saying, and the saying is hire slow, fire fast. And the reason that you want to fire fast is because you don't want a negative attitude to infect the culture of your business. When you're a good person and you care about people, business owners tend to be overly empathetic towards people that aren't going to work out. I've been guilty of this myself, where I've hung on to people way too long because I inaccurately believe that their only hope is for them to be with me. I know I'm going to win. I'm fucking winning, bro. And when I look at other people and this is wrong, okay? I'm just telling you how I look at it. I believe in what I'm doing so much that when I look at people and they say, "Oh, I'm not doing this," I look at them and I think, bro, your only fucking chance to really get where the you say you want to go is going to be hitching your motherfucking wagon to me, because I am a Clydesdale, bro. I don't ever stop. I will never stop, and I will get where I want to go. And I know that deep inside me. The problem is that's not true. People can win and survive and do things in all different places, and they need to be someplace where they're going to fit. Not everybody is made to operate on a high standard all the time. I have a saying that I use, and it's very simple. The world needs fry cooks too, okay? The world needs people to make the fucking French fries, and that's okay. Just make some good French fries. Do the best you can. So I can understand where a business owner will get in the habit of allowing people to stay, but that usually comes from you caring about them and also you believing that you're their only chance at really getting them where they want to go, which is inaccurate. And it's not a negative way. A lot of times employees perceive that to be negative. Like, no, it's just that I believe in what I'm doing so much that I know I'm going to get there. And I know you will too, if you just come along. Right. And so, it becomes very difficult to go through that process of really caring about people and their future and their career. And then, watching them make decisions that you may not agree with. But at the end of the day, bro, we can't control what people do. And a lot of times when we try to prevent them from making decisions, we're actually preventing them from learning the lessons that they need to learn. So that's a natural progression as an entrepreneur. If you're an empathetic, caring person, in the beginning, you have a hard time firing. The first time I fired someone, I cried, dude. I got in my truck and I fucking cried. I felt so shitty about having to fire the dude. I remember him, dude. I remember the guy's name. He just couldn't do the job. And it bothered me like, it still kind of bothers me because it was hard. And as you go through the process of hiring and firing, it gets a little easier. And what I ultimately came to understand, which made it much less personal and much easier to handle that situation, was that by me not letting go of someone who needed to be let go of, I'm letting down the rest of the team. I'm costing them opportunity because this person's, they have to drag this person. And also I'm preventing that person from finding something that they're really going to love and really excel at where they're struggling here, right? So I came to that conclusion, which is true. That's the truth. The truth is when you try to keep someone who doesn't really fit, you're preventing them from finding something where they will fit. And that is, or learning a lesson about how they could fit somewhere if they just gave a little more and developed a little more. So when you step in the way of someone's karma that they have developed themselves, right, you end up taking the brunt of that. And that's something that I've learned the hard way plenty of times, where I've tried to keep people and it ends up blowing up into a huge negative situation where had I just let them go when I first knew that they should have been let go, it would have never caused that. So I think this person, at 20 years in, you have definitely progressed to the point where you need to be. And I think now you're feeling a little bit guilty for just snap, firing them through. But the reality is, dude, I actually think that's a super healthy way to run things. I think that you have to be very careful about people poisoning the well, poisoning the culture well. And the truth of the matter is if you want to attract A players and an A player comes into your studio or comes into your business and they see a bunch of C players, they're not going to want to work there. All right. So it's very important for the standard that you're trying to hold as a premium elite tattoo studio that you have A players in there, because when the other A players come in, they're going to want to be there. And if you have a bunch of, medium level people that don't really give a fuck, those A players are going to come in and be like, nah, this isn't where I want to be. Right. And I tell my team all the time, in every company that I'm involved in, I tell my teams all the time, I say, look, this isn't for everybody, dude. There's plenty of jobs. There's plenty of careers that are easier than this. We are the University of Alabama here. We are trying to win championships. We are trying to build an iconic brand. We are trying to be the best. And that is not something that everybody can handle, nor should they. Some people, that's not the focus of their lives. That's not what they care about. They care about other things, and that's okay. But if you take one of these people who cares about other things and you put them in that environment, they're going to be fucking miserable, dude, because the standard's so high, the pressure's high, they can't take it, and they end up resenting you and the company for even putting you in the position. So I actually think you're in a very good spot. I don't think you should feel bad about it. I think you've run the course of developing your mindset as an entrepreneur from someone who hangs on to people to someone who maybe is a little bit fast. And the answer to this is, a question that you can ask yourself when you're deciding whether or not you should have put more time into this person or not would be something like, did I fail this person or did they fail me? Right? Did I fail this person by not coaching them up, teaching them the skills, spending enough time with them to get them where they needed to go? Or did I do that and they just failed me on their execution? And if the answer is you failed them, then it's time for you to sit down, have a real talk with them and say, okay, look, I failed you, bro. You're not developing at the pace that I need you to develop at. And I'll take responsibility for that this time. But here's what I need, okay? Are we clear on this? What do you need help with? And you give them another chance. And if they come out the gates and they start doing a thing and they move down the right track, cool. If you give them that discussion and they go back to doing the exact same shit, then you have your answer. And it's very simple. It's not emotional. It's just facts. That person doesn't belong here. And if you keep them there, they're a liability, not only to the company, but to the other members of the team. And also they're going to keep themselves from being where they need to be and learning the lessons that they need to learn. Yeah. So that's how, in a nutshell, how I would think about it. Now, if you want like detailed information on this, these are the kinds of things that we go through an Arte Syndicate. You can apply to be a part of Arte Syndicate. It's the entrepreneurship group that Ed Milet and I run together, and we've run together for almost 6 years now. It's for people that own real businesses. It's for people that are building real companies. And we talk about these kind of things in depth all the time.
Yeah. I was going to ask you too, before you said, like, you could ask yourself this question, but like, man, what's that equation look like when, you might have a B player, but that B player, with just a little bit more, investment in education or whatever it is, they could be the star of that studio for you.
Sure.
And so like that's got to be a hard thing to kind of like to kind of eyeball and judge, man.
I'll tell you what's really hard. What's really hard is when you have someone that has that potential, and because I've been doing something for so long, I can see that they have it.
Yeah.
But they don't believe they have it, and because they don't believe they have it, they don't really try to like materialize, let it materialize, and then they go from thing to thing to thing to thing. You know how many people I've worked with in my life, bro, that are fucking 1 inch away from being fucking great at what they do, but because they were raised in a shitty family, or they have shitty friends, or they have people in their ear telling them they can't do anything, they don't really try, and they never become anything, and they end up working, a bunch of different careers, thinking, man, this isn't right for me. Look, bro, nothing's right. You got to make it right. We're all going to have days where we come into what we do and we're like, fuck, this sucks. I'd rather be doing this. It's those days that matter the most, ironically. Those are the days where you have to execute at the highest level, because those are the days everybody else fucking doesn't do shit. And if you can execute at the highest level when everybody else doesn't do shit, you distance yourself from them. So, yeah, dude, it is very hard. And it's very hard when you care about people. I think when you detach your emotions from it, it's much easier, but I just don't think that's the way to run a business. I don't think that's
like an unemotional.
I just personally, dude,
you got to have a little bit of it in there.
A little bit, but not really, because if you really care about them, you're going to let them go find something that they're great at, right? If you really care about them, you're gonna tell them what they're lacking,
what the truth is.
And some people don't like that, bro. Some people can't handle that, But I can tell you this: if you are even considering coming to work for me in anything I do, just know it's hard as fuck. It's high pressure. We are here to win. If you can't cut it in that environment, you shouldn't even try to come here, because you will hate it.
Yeah. It's funny you say Sal's really, really good at that too.
Which part?
Like the I care about you, but here's like the fucking brutal, honest truth that you may not like to hear.
Well, that's because
he's really good at that.
Let me tell you, dude. People think that he doesn't care about them because of that.
Right.
But the truth is, there ain't anybody in this company that cares about people more than him.
Right. Because
he will tell them the exact fucking truth. So, and people have a hard time handling that.
Yeah. I love it. Love it, guys. Andy, question number 2. Hey, Andy, I'm going to be a sophomore in high school in a couple of weeks. I got screwed over last year in school ball for softball. I was promised a starting spot at second base as a freshman, and I had it for a game or two. But a girl from another school, her dad knew the assistant coach, she got my spot. I got shoved to right field, which I'm not complaining about because I still played as a freshman on varsity, but she just walked in and took my spot, the position I earned. She got it handed to her. Next year, I'm going to strive to get third base. I do not want it to happen again. I want to be a killer next year. I want to be the oh shit kind of player when coaches see me, not the we got it in the bag kind of player. I'm a decent ball player right now. I started shortstop for travel, and I have an 800 fielding percentage, which isn't great, but it's good. I want my coaches to have to play me next year. What tips do you have for me to get mentally prepared for that?
Well, I think you got the right attitude, okay? I would caution you. I'm just going to speak straight with you. If you're listening to the show, you're a straight shooter. You probably weren't good enough to keep that job at second base. And this is a reality lesson that you should take with you anywhere you go, because there's going to be times in your life where you are as good as someone else, and that someone else will have a relationship or they'll have a connection. And so for that reason, being as good is not good enough. Like you said in your question, you have to be the kind of person that someone says, oh shit, they're good. Okay. If you are not undeniably better than the person that you are competing with, you have to understand that you're running the risk of not getting that job. And that goes for, varsity softball, that goes for college softball, that goes for your career and your whole entire life. If you are as good as someone else that you are competing with, you are running the risk of not getting the job because of some other aspect. All right. So I would caution you to not look at these situations and say, oh, they only got that because of their dad, because you're creating a mental dialogue. We're going to get into the mental part now. You're creating a mental dialogue that is an excuse-making dialogue, okay? And you don't want to get in that habit. I'm not saying that you're out of line here, but what I am saying is you want to be very careful what you blame and who you blame when you don't get what you want, because ultimately it's you. The truth of the matter is had you practiced and taken 1,000 more reps than that girl who went to second base, you would have still been playing at second base. But she probably took the same amount of reps that you did, maybe even more. And that's why you're not there. And that's the truth. So let's bottom line the truth here. It's not about the dad. It's about how good you are. If you were undeniably better than her, do you think that they would have moved you to right field? No, they would have kept you there. They would have put her in right field. All right. So that's the first thing that I want you to understand. And I appreciate you asking the question, but if you're going to ask a question here, you're going to get a straight answer. I don't care if you're 5 or if you're 50. All right. So you need to get better. That's the truth. Yeah. Mentally, how do you get better? You have to adopt this mindset that I'm explaining to you, that you have to be undeniably better in every area of your life. So and what I mean by every area of your life, I mean, as you go through life, and this could be your career, right? Let's say you're not going to become a professional softball player. Let's say you're going to become an accountant. You have to be a much better, higher skilled accountant than the person next to you so that you get the role, right? So learn a lesson now when you're young. You're 14, 15, 16 years old. Learn that lesson now, and it won't be a problem. This is going to come down to reps. It's like anything else. So if you want to be where you want to be next year, like you say, and I believe that you do, or you wouldn't be listening to this show to get better. You need to put in a lot more reps than that person's doing. Whatever you think that person's do, I would do 50% more than that. Take 50% more ground balls, take 50% more batting practice. And by the time that game comes around, especially at your age, you're going to be further developed than that person will. It's very easy to develop in sports when you're at that age if you're just willing to do more work, because that's what it comes down to. And you're developing your motor skills so fast right now that just those more reps is going to put you in that position where you're undeniably better. So I would just commit to the work. I would honestly assess, let's just, how many reps is Susie doing? Susie's doing 100 ground balls. All right, you got to do 150. You have to. Okay. Susie's taking 20, or 100 balls at bats. All right. Well, you got to take 200. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You just got to do more, man. You got to do more reps, and that's going to put you in position to win. Mentally, how you justify that is you have to set, and this is what I tell myself, and you guys know this that listen to the show, and you know this, guys here. I tell myself I don't have any special skills. I wasn't blessed with extreme IQ. I wasn't given any special breaks. So I know I have to do more. When I look at what's going on in my life, and you guys who have followed me for a long time, I talk about this all the time. There might be better people than me, but there isn't anybody that's going to put in more work than me. And honestly, I feel like that's why I am where I am. And I honestly feel like that's why most of you guys relate to me, because I'm not one of these people that was just born with all this special shit. I wasn't extra, blessed in all these areas. I had to put in those reps, and that's why I believe, and I know that all of you can do the same thing if you were willing to adopt that mindset of, hey, I wasn't blessed with the athletic ability that Susie was, so that means I got to do more. And that's the reality of life. Right now there's a lot of topics around everything being equitable and even and everybody ending up in at the same spot. That's just not reality, dude. The reality is if you started out with nothing and someone else started out with, something, let's say, people like to say, oh, the guy was born on third base and thinks he hit a triple, right? All right, so you're born on home base. You weren't born with any special gifts. You weren't really given any special treatment. And then you're competing against someone who was gifted, who, let's say, born on second base. That means you got to do more work. You can't complain about it and say, oh, it's not fair. No shit, it's not fair. That's the way the world works. The world is not fucking fair. So we have to bottom line that and say, okay, this is the reality. If we want to be great, we have to bottom line that and say, okay, this is the reality. I wasn't blessed with these gifts, so I have to do more. And if I do more, I'll pass that person up. And I actually think that that's a very, very, very great place to be, because you learn the habits that will sustain your success over the course of your life, whereas someone else who was born with these gifts doesn't ever learn the grit, the work ethic, the fortitude that it takes to push through the really hard times. We see this with people who were tremendous athletes in high school. They were first team All-State. They were first team All-American in high school. And they get in college and they're okay. And then, maybe they get to pros and they're a nobody, right? But then you got the Tom Brady's of the world. You got the guy who was okay. And then he was okay in college. And then he was okay and he just decided he's going to fucking put in the reps and he became the greatest of all time. I would much rather come from less skill set and less blessings, because it forces you to develop the work ethic required to maintain and become great, versus someone who's born with the natural skill, who doesn't appreciate it and doesn't learn that way of operating over the course of time. So a lot of times when you're younger, you look around, for example, like in business, people will say things like this: oh, that guy was born with rich parents. His parents, dude, when I was starting my business, bro, there was all kinds of people I competed with that had parents that invested a bunch of money in their business, or, they came from very wealthy circumstances. So they had
options.
Right.
Yeah.
But here's the problem. The problem is they had options. Okay. And because they had options, they weren't able to fully dedicate themselves to becoming great at what they did. For me to compete with someone with more resources in the beginning, I had to get better. They didn't have to get better. So fast forward 10 years, I have all these skills that they don't have because they relied on their resources, and they're still where they are mentally and skill set that they were on day one. Now, who do you think wins 10 years in? I'm running circles around these guys, right? Because I had to learn what it takes to compete. And the reason I had to learn what it takes to compete is because I wasn't born with all the bonuses that some of these other people were born with. So if you're that person and you're looking around right now and you're saying, man, I wasn't born with all, good, because that's going to force you to develop the things that you're going to need to be successful over the course of your life. The work ethic, the grit, the skill set, the ability to learn as you go, the adaptation, the ability to be resourceful. These are things that people who were born with blessings never learn, because they rely on those blessings to get them through. So 10 years down the road, when you've dedicated yourself right now at 14 years old to, okay, I don't have the gifts that Susie has, and I've got to put in twice as much work to get where, if you adopt that mindset now, dude, at 25, 10 years from now, you're going to be killing everybody because of the mindset that you developed. All right. So just be okay and say, hey, I didn't get everything everybody else got, so I got to work harder.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Well, good luck in your season. Guys, Andy, question number 3. Third and final question, guys. Dear Andy, I've been wrestling with your concept of aggressive patience recently, and I'm wondering if you can just dive deeper into it. I am 19, a full-time employee, and a full-time college sophomore studying software development. I'm ready to move out on my own and begin my career with an internship or an entry-level position. My family, however, keeps telling me to stay at home, save my money, and focus on my studies rather than getting an internship. My question is, in what situations should aggressive patience be used rather than moving forward and taking the next step? And also, if First Farm happens to be or have a software development internship available, let me know.
Okay, look. I think you're misunderstanding the concept of aggressive patience, all right? There's three things that have to happen for you to become successful in anything, okay? You have to put in the work, you have to become skilled, and you have to allow time to do its part. And the analogy that I've always used for this is baking a cake, all right? You could want to bake a cake, and you go on Google and you say, I want to bake a cake. And you find this amazing cake recipe from Martha Stewart. It won all the awards, all right? And you're like, all right, that's the cake I want to make. So you read the recipe out, and you put all the ingredients in the pan. You mix it up just like it says, exactly like she says. It says 400 degrees for 40 minutes. So you're pouring all the ingredients in the bowl. You pour it in the pan. You're just about ready to put it in the oven. And you're like, fuck, dude, if I cook this thing for 800 degrees for 20 minutes, I could get it out twice as fast. All right. So you think you're real smart. So you turn the thing up to 800 degrees and you set the timer for 20 minutes and you throw that bitch in there. And then you go to pull it out. What is it? It's burnt to a crisp. It's smoking. Your smoke alarm's going off. It smells like shit. And you're like, what the fuck is going on? All right. You did not obey one of the crucial elements of success, which is allowing time to do its part, okay? We cannot rush time in terms of what it takes for us to materialize our outcome in most situations. Now, there is a max velocity that we can achieve, but there is also things that we cannot substitute because they take time. For example, it takes time in business for a customer to become acclimated to your brand. It might take 5, 10, 20, 30 impressions before they ever think about trying your brand out. That doesn't happen in 1 minute just because you want it to. It takes time, okay? When we think about what that means that we have to be patient. We have to allow time to do its job. But the problem is that when we say to people, hey, I need you to be patient here, usually what they do when you tell them that they have to be patient is they stop doing the work and they believe that time will just bring them the result without any of the work. And this is where the aggressive part comes in, all right? So you have to understand that it's going to take time, but you have to also understand that every single day while you're waiting for time to materialize, you have to show up and you have to give max effort and max execution, all right? So that's why it's called aggressive patience. It's aggressive in daily execution, but also mindful that we have to be patient. And this is the reality of success. You have to have work, you have to have skill, and you have to have patience. And if you do not have those three things, you cannot win, all right? And a lot of people say, you don't need patience, you need to be aggressive. They're saying the same thing I'm saying, but you can't out-aggressive time in certain scenarios, okay? So all you can do is you could show up every day, you can execute perfectly, and the time will be what it is. We can collapse time as much as possible by following the method of aggressive patience. But a lot of guys will tell you, oh, you just need to be patient. And a lot of young people, young in the entrepreneurship game, misunderstand that, and they think that means just wait. And that's not what it means. When I say be patient to all of you, what do you think automatically? You probably think just wait, okay? And that is not good enough. You have to come in every single day, kick ass, execute at a high degree, execute at a high level, and also understand that it's going to take time. And that's what aggressive patience is about. So, and it's a required element of success. You can't get around utilizing it.
Yeah. Yeah. And so what you're saying is like, okay, you put that cake in the oven, you set it at the right temperature. It's going to be 40 minutes. You can't speed that time up. You can't stop it. Can't slow it down.
Right.
But there's other things that you could also be doing while that cake's in the oven.
You could be making the icing. You could be
cleaning the kitchen.
You could be cleaning the kitchen.
Yeah.
You could be making the icing. You could be setting the table. You could be aggressively showing up and getting prepared for that event that you need the cake for, right?
Yeah.
So this is all part of how it works. And it's very simple when you think about it like that.
Yeah.
It's no different than an athlete, bro. An athlete's going to show up. Like, for example, the girl from the last
Softball.
question.
Yeah.
All right. She shows up on day one. We got 365 days in the year, right? Mm-hmm. She wants to improve her skill set. She shows up on day one and just she works out for 16 hours that day. Shows up for day 2, 16 hours. Shows up for day 3, 16 hours. Shows up for day 4, 16 hours. Doesn't show up for day 5 because she's like, fuck this. Okay? Whereas the person who shows up every single day for 8 hours and crushes exactly what they do, and they do that for 365 days straight, that is going to be highly skilled because they allowed for time to do its part. How skilled can you get at a sport in one day, no matter how hard you work?
Not much.
Okay.
Not much.
What about a week? What about a year?
Yeah.
Right?
There we go.
So, but if you were to sit on the bench for a year and just say, I'll be better because I'm going to be a year older, you're not going to be much better, right? If any. So we have to understand it's work, skill, and time, and we have to understand the roles that those three things play in the end result that we're chasing. All right. If you're lacking any of them, you won't win. And here's the other thing about aggressive patience. That skill part of it, you develop while you're being aggressively patient. You see what I'm saying? Whereas if you were just patient, that skill would not grow. So show up every day, execute effectively, do that the next day, and understand that no matter how hard you work today and how hard you work tomorrow and how hard you work the third day, it's still going to take time.
I love it.
That's aggressive patience in a nutshell.
I absolutely love it, man. Well, guys, Andy, that was 3.
That was 3, guys. All right, we got CTI tomorrow. Remember, go out this week, be good, be kind, kick ass, be a good example. We'll see you tomorrow.